Heavy gunfire at an airport today in eastern Ukraine after the government managed to take back control from members of a pro-Russian militia. Yesterday, President Obama spoke on the phone with Vladimir Putin about his country's support for militia members. The White House says he expressed grave concern. Over the weekend, a Russian fighter jet made multiple passes at close range near an American warship in the Black Sea, a move that the Pentagon calls provocative. Jay Carney was asked whether it may be an indication that the foreign policy isn't working.
Isn't there a sense of administration and in the European capitals with which you are collaboratively dealing with that what is going on is not working? That whatever signals you're sending, they're either not being heeded or misread, and this entire approach, which is to not escalate, isn't working?
Well, no, Major, because the premise of the question is based on the notion that all the United States ever has to do when something happens in the world that we don't like is say, stop it, and they'll stop.
But do you think, Greg, it's too little too late at this point?
Yeah, I don't think there ever was an approach. I think it was more like a retreat. America as a global power decided that, we wanted to concentrate on ourselves. I want to work on myself instead. That's what Obama said. But burying your head in the sand doesn't make the ocean go away. And Putin saw that opportunity. He saw the president as a beta male, more obsessed with Sandra Fluck than actual security. And he took advantage of it. And by the way, old beliefs die hard. If you think that America was a bad guy in the 70s and the 80s, do you think you're going to change your mind? I'm not talking about Putin.
Right about that, Andrea. Let me ask you if you think that on the intel side of things, was that enough? Or should we maybe unleash Google and Twitter to go and be the voice where Vladimir Putin has shut down free information, access to free information?
I'm not sure he cares about that. I mean, ultimately, yes, he's winning the PR battle, but he wants to take over these former Soviet countries, so I don't think Twitter would scare him. I do not think that Obama should be involved with this Russian issue, but I do disagree with what they've done up until this point. If you look at the way Reagan handled it, he put intermediate nukes right in Western Europe. He did it so that they wouldn't have to have this debate in the country that we're having now, which is, should we send troops in? The shame here, too, is that we are following the lead of the EU. They've tossed aside their defense budgets in favor of a welfare state. We're doing that. Greg mentioned the president's like, yeah, we're going to stay here and work on ourselves, while we're, quote, more flexible with you guys, and we're going to downsize our army. So I actually think by saying we're cutting our defense budgets, focusing more on the welfare state, I think that up until now, the president has failed. And it's a shame because the Ukraine is a fairly Western country, unlike Turkey. It should be in NATO. But now, because of a feckless EU and a feckless President Obama, it won't be. And that's why we're in that position.
This feud was supposed to be behind us because of peace through strength. We put out a visage that was intimidating, but it turns out the reset button actually reset the Cold War. Obama's like a doctor who brings back the measles. I mean, this stuff we shouldn't be worrying about.
But I also don't think that we need to have a policy of war or ignore. I think there is a middle ground. And last November, when in the United States, when we were working on ourselves and we were working on, the president was working on the fact that the website for his health care bill had completely crashed. That was when the Ukrainians actually voted for Yanukovych, who ran on closer economic ties with the European Union. We didn't do enough to help them at that point, and now I think this is why we've come to this.
Need them anymore because Iran's
Why are you worried about the Russians? What could the world could they possibly do except cut off oil to Eastern Europe?
Look, you're right. It's a terribly weak country, except for its nukes mask the reality that it is a weak country.
That's what they've got.
But it sends a message to every other scary world leader like Iran that we have a very wimpy administration.